Hello, and welcome back to our Squad Leader tutorial series. We are currently dealing with the fighting vehicles of World War II. We are following the maneuvers of the world-famous Tiger I tank to learn how fully tracked vehicles get around the advanced Squad Leader battlefield. In our first two installments on vehicles, we went through movement basics, as well as driving down the road and over hills. Now we're going to go through the tougher terrain of woods, houses, and barbed wire. This will introduce the idea of a bog check. Throughout this video, we'll be referring to table D8.21. You refer to this table anytime a bog check is needed. The need to make a bog check is determined by the terrain effects chart which we used in our previous video. We will now drive our target tank through the woods. Assume it's a German movement phase. We have to spend 1 MP to start. The tank moves into hex D5 for 2 MP. Now, to enter the woods, there is no set number of MP. It is based on a fraction of the total movement points of the tank. So the Tiger tank has a movement point of 12. It costs half of a tank's movement points to enter the woods, as per the terrain chart. By referring to the letters B, Z, R, D down below, as shown for the tracked vehicle in woods, it would cost half of the Tiger's movement points to go to the woods. It will cost 6 MP to go to the woods for a total of 8 MP. If the tank involved only had 10 MP available, it would only cost 5 MP to go to the woods. In this case, it costs the Tiger 6 MP. Besides the 6 MP, now the Tiger has to roll a bog check. We simply go down table D8.21 and apply the appropriate modifiers to the bog dice roll. The modifiers that apply for this tank are normal ground pressure, because remember the letter designation for the Tiger did not have a square or a circle, so it had normal ground pressure. And as we run down the list, you also see that the only other modifier that applies is the +3 for entry into woods, graveyard, or wooden building, or rubble at half MP. So the total DRM is +4 to the bog check. A vehicle bogs on a vinyl dice roll of greater than or equal to 12. So in essence, you will be adding 4 to the bog dice roll, and if the total is 12 or higher, then our Tiger tank is stuck in the woods. Let's say the German player rolls a 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. So the tank makes it through the woods, and a trail break is placed inside the hex in the direction that the tank has traveled. The tank enters the next hex for 9 MP and then stops there for a total of 10 MP. Here's a question for you. If a tank has movement point allotment of 16, how many movement points would it cost for that tank to go through the woods? How about if the tank had an MP allotment of 8? I'll wait a few seconds while you think about it. If you said 8 for the first answer and 4 for the second, you're correct. And now you understand how tanks move through houses and woods. Now let's assume that instead of a 6, the German player rolled a 9. 9 plus 4 equals 13, so the tank has bogged in that hex and it can go no farther this movement phase. And it is placed under a bog counter. Now let's fast forward to the next German movement phase after the Tiger tank bogged. The German player does not want this beauty extending the trees, so in the next movement phase, instead of spending 1 MP to start the tank, he has to roll a bog removal attempt first. This roll tells him all at once if he's successful and how many movement points it will cost. We refer to table D8.3. It is pretty much self-explanatory, but we will go through it quickly. Let's say the German player rolls a 7 with a red 3 and a white 4. Looking at table D8.3, on a colored die roll of less than 4, the vehicle is freed. Now, to see how many points it costs, you multiply the white and the red die. In this case, it is a total of 12. So the vehicle has freed itself, but spent 12 movement points to do it. If your total is higher than the MP of the vehicle involved, but the colored die roll is less than or equal to 4, then the vehicle is freed, but can go no farther. So now, if the result was 7, but the red die was a 5 and the white die a 2, what would have happened? How about if the red die was a 6 and the white die a 1? You can look at the table now for a few seconds to come up with the right answer. It figured out that on a red die of 5 the vehicle is mired, on a red die roll of 6 immobilized, you have this part figured out. Also, the red die was a 1 and the white die a 6. How many MP would it cost to start the vehicle? Again, I'll wait a few seconds. If you came up with a total of 6 MP to start the bog vehicle, then you have figured out bog removal. Finally, you also come across buildings and barbed wire. The process for bog is the same, but the bog check rolls have additional significance. If our tiger was going through a wooden building, as opposed to the woods, it would still be a +4 as per chart D8.21. However, if the bog check die roll has a colored 6 in it, the tiger tank falls through the floor into the basement and is destroyed. That is a lousy way to lose a tank. If the tiger tank was going through barbed wire, the total modifiers would only be +3 as opposed to +4 for bog. If the color die roll was a 1, then the barbed wire would be removed. This finishes our third volume on vehicles. I hope you found this video helpful. Please remember, these videos are simply meant as an introduction to this great game, to give you enough confidence to dive in and have some fun. Play as much as possible and don't worry about making mistakes. Try to learn from an experienced player and perhaps attend one of the many tournaments throughout the country, like Norista in Massachusetts or the New York State ASL Championships in Albany, New York. If you liked this video, please like us on YouTube and subscribe to our channel. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, feel free to contact me at jdhobbies@live.com. And like always, thanks for watching.